Those of you who believe in aliens, why? Redditor 4, there are hundreds of billions of galaxies in the universe, each with hundreds of billions of stars and trillions of planets. Even if life only arose on Earth because it met a ridiculously specific set of requirements, the sheer amount of planets in the universe should guarantee that there would have been at least a few with near-identical starting conditions to ours. Redditor 15, space is just too damn big for alien life not to exist. The problem is that because space is so big, we'll probably never actually meet or encounter these aliens. Maybe at some point in the distant future we'll receive some sort of radio signal from some far-off world that confirms the existence of alien life, or maybe we'll build telescopes powerful enough to detect exoplanets with signs of life. The thing with that is that we'll be looking millions of years into the past, so if we did find some advanced alien civilization from millions of years ago, there's two possibilities: they've since gone extinct, or they've reached such an advanced point that they're colonizing other worlds or traveling around their local interplanetary interstellar neighborhood. If an alien world was to see Earth right now, they might not see a planet with life on it at all. They could see Earth as it was still forming. In the grand scheme of things, we're an extremely young species. We discovered fire mere seconds ago, and we discovered electricity nanoseconds ago. Who knows where we'll be in 100 years' time, or how much better we'll become at discovering alien life. Redditor 18, think about how big the universe is. It's practically endless. It seems foolish and frankly quite self-centered to believe we're all alone. There may be a planet quite similar to ours for all we know. Redditor 20, because of the Fermi paradox, I find it very hard to believe that there isn't life in a few other places in the universe. I think that the majority of it is probably microbial life, and it probably ranges all the way to forms of life that we might not even consider looking for because we can't comprehend how different it is from us. Redditor 22, alien life surely exists. 100-ish billion galaxies in the universe. And each galaxy having 100-ish billion stars. And many of these having planets. Even if sentient life is shockingly rare, there's still going to be a huge number in the universe with this many stars planets. It's just that I don't believe gray aliens have visited. We're too far out, and space is too big. But, I want to be wrong. Let's go to space. Probe me if you have to. Redditor 24, I mean some type of aliens exists somewhere, might just be some bacteria on a planet we will never discover, might be a species of alien geniuses on a rock we never discover, but that other rock is out there. Redditor 25, I never believed it until I went to the Flinders Ranges. Clearest sky I ever seen, I was just stargazing one night and it was pretty nice. Until I saw a fast-moving object that was going one way then made an immediate 90-degree turn at the same speed. That's only when I only pegged my curiosity. To which I made a theory: if there can be no possible of life out in the universe other than Earth, would that mean a species on this Earth that is secret to us or watching our development? We could be a secondary species like proven before with humans and Neanderthals. Redditor 26, I'd be more interested in learning why people don't believe in extraterrestrials. The idea of such an unimaginably vast universe filled with hundreds of trillions of stars and planets being completely devoid of life aside from this planet frankly just sounds ridiculous to me. If we're all there is, that would be much weirder than if there are others. Redditor 31, because I believe it's an element of human arrogance that influences us to think they do not exist. There have been too many reports over too long of a time to deny that there have been endless unexplainable facets in our world, yet we refuse to accept them as truth because we cannot understand them. An analogy to this would be how lab rats are yet to access communication abilities with us despite seeing their fellow rodents continuously abducted, probed, and returned. We have yet to make contact with aliens because they would be so advanced that we developmentally cannot communicate. It's difficult to perceive our species as inferior to others, so it's only human to cope by assuming we are the ones on the very top because we can't understand above us. Redditor 32, I think it boils down to a person's understanding of just how big space is. It's hard to explain, but I'll try. Our galaxy alone is home to 1/4 trillion stars and even more planets, moons, exoplanets. 1/4 trillion. That's a bigger number than you can reference by a long shot in just our galaxy. There are 100 million known galaxies as of now, and those are just the ones that our space probes can see in the sphere of light that has reached our planet since the beginning of time. It's estimated that there could be anywhere between 200 billion and a trillion galaxies. That's up to a trillion groups of 1.4 trillion stars based on the Milky Way. 1T times 250b is 2.5e plus 23 planets, or 2.5 and 23 zeros. And that's assuming that each star has an average 1 planet, which we know is not the case. It's more like 4 or 5. If there is no life on 2 septillion 500 sextillion planets except this one, then I'll shit a brick, smack myself with it and then eat it. There could also easily be 4x that many planets. Even if you run the numbers, it still doesn't do the sheer amount justice. Habitable zone, commonality of water, oxygen, atmosphere are just the qualifications of life on Earth. It's possible and arguably probable that life can take other forms, such as silicon-based rather than carbon. Intelligent RNA-based life instead of DNA, or possible something we can't even fathom yet. TLDR. We don't know enough to definitively say either way, but the numbers as of now with our current understanding suggest that life exists elsewhere, period. It's just a matter of where, when, how. Redditor 33, the universe is a big place, life is diverse, and thus it's unlikely that we're the only life in the universe. If you can have extremophiles on Earth, you can have life adapt to many other conditions. Will it be like Star Trek with vaguely humanoid species? No. Could there be actual intelligences other than us? Yes. Have they visited us? Likely no. Point is, there's likely life out there, just not as we know it. Redditor 35, because our sun and our planet are pretty young compared to other stars and Earth-like planets. But I also very much believe in the Great Filter theory, so the reason we might not have made contact yet, is because we're first. We're the first life to pop up in this universe, but we won't be the last. Maybe. Redditor 51, UFO in front of my house. Until I see a government plane that can copy its ability to completely ignore the laws of physics and aerodynamics, I'll say it's aliens. Redditor 52, there are so large number of galaxies that we can't even imagine. And each galaxy has many planets. Now it's impossible that none of them has life. There was a quote I remember from a documentary, "Universe is a big ocean and we're trying to catch a fish in this big ocean. Now if we take out a bucket of water from surface of ocean, didn't catch a fish, that doesn't imply there are no fish in the ocean. And we have barely taken out water in a teacup from this vast ocean. We have barely started finding out life in universe." Redditor 53, the fact there are like billions of fucking planets out here in our universe per se. I mean, fucking think about that. Redditor 54, I mean, when NASA released that they found bacteria on a comet, it's very hard to believe the opposite. Redditor 62, I believe that there is some kind of life out there. The universe is supposed to be hella big, so it's just highly unlikely that our planet would be the only one with life on it. Don't believe there's ever been aliens on Earth though. Redditor 63, statistically it is impossible for Earth to be the only planet with life on it. I mean, there are billions upon billions of stars in the sky and planets orbiting some of them, so the numbers are too high for life to be exclusive to Earth. Redditor 64, do you mean believing that they exist and are the overlords of our society, or believing as in it is perfectly logical for them to exist? Redditor 65, it all depends on what you mean by aliens. If you mean some form of life in the cosmos, even if it's only single-celled, then I think it's probable that it does exist, because I'm familiar with origins of life research and know how readily the basic building blocks of life can form in reducing or even neutral atmospheres, and how many building blocks there actually are. There are hundreds of potential naturally occurring amino acids, dozens of naturally occurring nitrogenous bases, etc. But if you're asking if I believe in intelligent beings that cross half the galaxy merely to perform medical experiments of dubious importance on kidnapped people and then return them to their beds, or to press ornate designs into fields of grain, then no. Redditor 66, a quote that's always stuck with me is along the lines of, "What's scarier, that we're not alone in the universe or that we are?" Unsure whose quote it is though. Redditor 67, if it isn't them, then who is probing my anus? Redditor 68, Fermi paradox aside, I don't think the definition excludes bacteria, which if I recall was found on Mars. Complex life is another story entirely, but I don't think the possibility could ever be fully rejected, nor do we have a particularly strong reason to say complex or even sentient life out there doesn't exist. Did they ever visit Earth or anything like that? I am quite skeptical of that. But as far as the universe is concerned, I think we can reasonably say there's almost certainly something, or someone, out there. Redditor 69, I can't believe there are people that don't believe in aliens. Redditor 70, it's a little close-minded to say we're alone, isn't it? The universe is a big place. Maybe extraterrestrial governments have something like an isolationist policy, and don't want to interact with us. Maybe the aliens don't even know we exist. I've heard that theory before too. Whatever the reason is, it's way too early to call it and declare that the human race is totally alone in the universe. Personally, I feel like that's why we need to establish a permanent presence on other planets in our solar system and begin harvesting the natural resources of space. We'll never find the answers we want if we never go out and look for them. Redditor 71, that Navy FA-18 footage of UFOs off the coast of California definitely makes you wonder. Linkimp 9 Vi. Redditor 72, the universe is big, but it's very possible the aliens aren't intelligent life, they could be microscopic. Redditor 73, I think some simple statistics can answer this question. Number of stars in the known universe, 1 sextillion roughly. That is 1 billion trillions. About half of those likely have planets. About 20% of stars are sun-like stars, and about 22% of those likely have Earth-similar worlds within the Goldilocks habitable orbit. That leaves us with about 2 quintillion 400 quadrillion, about 2.4 quintillion possibly habitable planets in the observable universe. Keep in mind this is just the observable universe, meaning the parts of the universe light has had time to reach us since the beginning of time. Obviously nobody knows how big the entire universe is, but based on some astronomical observations and calculations I've heard scientists bandy around figures like we can see about 0.1% of the actual universe. Let's assume 1% for the sake of argument. Now our number of habitable worlds is 240 quintillion 240 quadrillion. Now let's just imagine that the conditions for intelligent life to arise are extraordinarily unlikely. We will just make up a number since nobody knows, but I'll err on the side of caution and say only 0.00000000000000000001% of those planets will ever have a chance of evolving intelligent life over the lifetime of the universe. That would mean about 240 planets in the entire universe not observable, but entire universe even have a chance of evolving intelligent life. There are possibly about 200 trillion galaxies in the entire universe. Assuming that same 1% for the observable universe versus entire universe, and assuming a roughly even distribution of galaxies throughout both big assumptions. So now we get to the point, 1 in 8, 333, 33, 333, 333, that's about 1 in 8 trillion galaxies will have a chance to contain a single intelligent life-bearing planet according to these flawed calculations. And since most of the universe outside the observable universe is moving away from us faster than the speed of light, you could never reach most of those planets under any known circumstances. They might as well be in a separate universe. While there is a lot of conjecture here, this is all just to show you the sheer scale of the universe and yet how unlikely life could be within it. Assuming numbers like these, it becomes obvious why we don't see aliens visiting Earth despite the fact that they likely exist. We would have to go millions of galaxies away from here to find our nearest neighbor, and barring FTL travel, even the speed of light wouldn't be fast enough to keep up with the expansion of the universe itself. We would be effectively alone in our corner of the universe. So my answer is I am pretty confident aliens exist and pretty confident we will never meet. Redditor 76, aliens as in aliens here or aliens as in aliens out there? I believe in both to some degree. Aliens here, I did a whole bunch of college research in my teens looking at documents and statements from people in positions of power regarding UFOs. I read and listened to a ton of witness reports and stuff, all the great stuff. Abductions, sightings, pilot tales. Everything. It's subjective and personal conclusion of mine as I was the only one doing the research, but I concluded that UFOs do exist. Here we are in 2020 with the US Navy confirming that. I think alien in their case is an outdated term though. They have been here longer than we have, I think. They probably had something to do with us. Whether you believe it or not, there are some great stories within that realm. Crazy stories. Aliens out there, absolutely 100% positive. We aren't special. If there's water on this planet, there will be water on others. If there's life here, there will be life on others. I have no doubts. Redditor 80, you'll have to be more precise. Do we believe in aliens who happen to be very far away, or regularly plague yokels with impromptu proctological examinations? It is, shall we say, the difference between having an imagination or having an overactive imagination. Redditor 84, I don't believe in aliens, but I definitely don't think we can cross out their existence indefinitely. The universe is far too large for there to not be similar enough conditions to Earth at least a couple times. Redditor 88, universe is humongous, probably much, much bigger than what we can see, the limit of our technology. There's also a lot of scientific proof. Studies that let them find a second Earth or even a live bacteria on other planets. It's enough proof that there is life somewhere out there. Space is just too big for us to be the only ones. Maybe it's not like a Martian stole my cow scenario, but somewhere out there we're not alone, lol. Redditor 93, because we exist in the universe, plus the universe is huge. Why can't there be others like us? I mean, we literally have examples of beings that live in the universe. Go look in the mirror. Life may be rare, I could go with that, but would be crazy if we're the only ones. I just think you need the right planet and star, and eventually you'll get some type of life. Redditor 94, if space is infinite and there's a 0.0000000000000000000001% chance of life somewhere, given the odds life is gonna exist. Redditor 95, never mind the fact that there are billions of stars out there, Therese, many other surrounding galaxies around us. It's improbable that we're the only ones in this entire universe. Redditor 97, it just makes more sense that if we're all made of literal stardust, that it happened elsewhere. It's chauvinistic and dumb to assume we're alone in the universe. Redditor 99, based on the size of the universe, I would be more shocked if we were the only life. Just because someone made a lot of alien movies doesn't make the idea of other life sci-fi. Redditor 100, space is so unfathomably huge, it's pretty much impossible for Earth to be the only planet capable of supporting life. Intelligent life might be rarer, but I believe it does exist. As for why we haven't seen any, space is so big our brains can't even process it. Traveling from Earth to our closest neighboring star system Alpha Centauri at light speed will take about 4,5 years. Crossing the Milky Way will take you about 200 million years. And that's assuming we can even develop an engine that can reliably reach light speed. If there's aliens in the 10-ish star systems closest to us, we might reasonably be able to send a crew to investigate, probably in generation ships. Beyond that, we're gonna need to become way more advanced first. Redditor 101, law of probability. Redditor 102, I might believe in aliens depending on what you mean. The normal meaning that ETS extraterrestrials have visited Earth. No, but if you mean that ETS exists, then because the universe is just very big. Also, just in case you mean people from other places. Yes. Redditor 103, there is a near 0% possibility of aliens not existing. Earth being the only planet to support life just doesn't make sense with the size of the universe. I don't think aliens would ever come to Earth to take it over or anything. But there has to be some sort of plant, bacteria, or animal somewhere in the stars. Redditor 104, the universe is so big the chance of our planet being the only one with life is so small you could call it zero. The chance they've come to or even looked at Earth has about the same odds. Redditor 105, I just think that the universe is way too big for Earth to be the only planet that can sustain life. Aliens might not have come here, but we haven't gone to them either. There's a good chance we're just living parallel and might never meet. Redditor 110, those of you who believe in God, why? Just as much proof of either, maybe more for aliens. Redditor 111, one thing I wonder, for all that the universe is a big place, no reason it couldn't happen somewhere else to people. If alien life does exist out there, but they're tens or hundreds of thousands of light years away and there aren't any cheats in physics to work around the speed of light as an absolute limit, do the existence or non-existence of something we could never meaningfully interact with have any practical effect? Redditor 112, think about it. In all the millions upon billions of stars out there, there has to be at least one more that can support life. I doubt that they will ever visit us, and I doubt they are green and look like they do in the movies, but I know that they have to be out there somewhere. Redditor 113, the sheer scale of the universe is beyond comprehension when you really put your mind to it, the same with how long it has existed. With that in mind, it is simply down to mathematical odds that there stands to reason there is some other variety of life out there. The big question is how much, where, and how advanced. Redditor 115, it's foolish to think that in an infinite, ever-expanding universe, that we are the only planet that can support life. TBH, I'd probably believe that there are even other humans somewhere out there. Redditor 116, maybe not the ultra-intelligent type aliens, but there must be some sort of life form somewhere in this vast universe. The formation of our Earth is just statistics, and it's not impossible that a planet out there was formed the same way Earth was formed. Redditor 117, not believing in aliens is like taking a cup of water from the ocean and saying, there are no whales in my cup, therefore there can't be any in the ocean. Redditor 118, here are some facts. 1. There are estimated 100 billions of galaxies that each is composed of 150-250 billion stars. 2. The different combinations of elements are finite and are the building blocks in our universe. 3. Solar systems form in a very extremely similar way, following a supernova. Once a star burns through its last element, iron, it either goes two directions. Implodes on itself from its own gravity, becoming a white dwarf or a black hole for massive stars. The other direction is when the pressure from within is greater than the gravity and it blows up in a supernova that releases newly created elements to create a new sun and planets. 4. The universe is 13.7 billion years. Earth is 4.5 billion years, and our first earliest microbe life forms are 3.7 billion years. First plants were 470 million years old, and first dinosaurs were 230 million years old. Humanity is only 200,000 years. The peak of human technology is only 50 years old. Think of all the planets out there that are formed from dust of supernovas. Then think of the many different life forms that had a billion years head start from our own timeline. It only takes about a billion years on average for molecules to mix together to come up with something that moves on its own. With enough time, you eventually end up to what we have today. Redditor 119, because it would be entirely hubristic to assume we're the only life out there in the entire universe. I don't assume any of it has come to find us. I leave open the possibility, but I have no idea why they'd want anything to do with us. We'd be primitive compared to them. Maybe some sort of paleontology?